Have you ever wondered why some businesses skyrocket to success while others struggle to take off? Like, what's the secret ingredient that can turn your dreams into a reality? Well, we got the answer for you. And it's all about one word: networking. But not just any networking. We're talking about innovative, game-changing strategies that can propel your business to new heights. Have you ever asked yourself, how can I build powerful connections and boost my business? Where can I find the right people to help me on this journey? Or what are the real-world proven tactics that the top entrepreneurs use to propel them forward? I'm going to share with you today why networking is the ultimate catalyst to business growth. So if you're ready, let's dive in. All right, buckle up because here's where it gets really exciting. We're about to unlock the vault, a secret sauce that could change the game for your business. I'm talking about the mysterious realm of strategic relationship building. Ever wonder how the pros turn mere connections into gold mines of opportunity? Well, this is what it's all about. It's about those strategic relationships. Everything you want in life is going to come from other people. And I know it's so opposite from what we were taught. Growing up, we're taught two things that I personally believe keep us from failure. We were taught, don't talk to strangers, and then we were taught, don't do business with family. Well, if I can't talk to strangers and I can't do business with family, who in the world am I going to do business with? Do y'all feel me? I started to realize that maybe I need to step away from the information I was taught and start to look at what's the real stuff, what are the pros doing? And as I started to study and observe and learn from the top guys and the top people in the industry, I started to realize they were really good at building relationships. But not just building relationships, they were strategic relationships. So I started to realize we've all heard your network is your net worth, and that is true. But then I start to realize that not only is my network my net worth, but your network is my net worth. Who you know I can profit from. So I started to look strategically at who has my audience and how do I build a relationship with that person so that way I can tap into that audience. And I start to realize that there is truly power in proximity. I just have to get close enough to these people to actually build those relationships. So when it comes to building those relationships, networking is everything. But are you ready for the networking revelation that is far from ordinary? Because we're about to enter a world where conventional networking rules no longer apply. Picture this: unconventional networking tactics, a secret chamber where the networking elite gather and they create their own rules. And in turn, they create their own success. So you have to think about how you're actually going to network. And there's a few ways. One, it's boring, but going to your regular networking groups. These are things like a BNI. Me personally, I've never been a big BNI person, but it works for some people. It's a very conventional way. But I'm about the unconventional way. So actually, I lead an unconventional networking group called Blue, stands for Business Leaders Unleash. I didn't start the group, I just helped run one of the chapters. But here it's all about building those strategic relationships. So imagine hopping into a room of 40 to 50 people and their only objective is to build real relationships and real connections that they can use to level up. It's not about exchanging business cards or what can you do for me, but actually having genuine relationships. So you have to get in unique rooms like that for number one. Number two is going to different conferences and masterminds. And this is the gold mine. I was talking to one of my buddies and he said, hey man, I'm going to this event. What tips, what suggestions do you have for me? And I told him this: when you go into the room, don't try to do business with anyone there. Shocker, right? Don't try to do business with anyone there. Instead, look to build real relationships and listen for holes and gaps that these people have where you can provide value. You see, when you start a relationship and you start off as the giver, law of reciprocity states they're going to look for ways to give back. So when I'm in these networking groups and I'm just building connections, building real relationships with people, and I find out, oh, this person has something that I could benefit from, instead of starting off saying, hey, let me see how I can benefit from you, I'm going to look for a way that I can benefit you. So I'm trying to benefit them instead of looking for them to benefit me. And I'm going to start off the relationship as the giver. So now their first impression of me, because we only get to make one first impression, their first impression of me is, man, this is a really cool, great, genuine person who just jumped in, didn't ask for anything from me, but just provided so much value. And they helped me solve problems, and they filled these gaps, and they provided something that actually helped me. So now when they think of you as that person, they're naturally going to say, man, what can I do in turn to help this person? And that is huge. That's going to allow you to start to build those strategic relationships, and it's going to be built on a strong, rock solid foundation where they actually want to help you. And I got one more tip for you, and this is going to be absolutely incredible. There's one thing that you can do right now that can absolutely level up your business game. And that's hitting the like button, subscribing to the channel, and making sure you hit that notification bell so that you get alerted every time I drop a video providing value for you. But the best way I could think to tie this all together is by giving you a real world, real life example. So I actually went to an event last year, and I'm in the room, love the guy doing the event. I went there, like, man, I got to meet this guy. But I knew that the people I need to meet were not the speakers, but the other people in the room. See, understand that when you go to these conferences and these masterminds, the person sitting next to you could be your next business partner, or they could lead you to people who can move you to the next level. So a lot of people know about me and my brother David Power Talk. We met at that event. Had no clue how far that relationship was going to go, but that's one of my deepest business relationships I have now. Same thing can be said about my brother, Mr. Precise. Same thing. We've been able to move that relationship further, and we've been able to do a lot of stuff together. But the story I want to give you guys is, I was in the room, and I was sitting next to this girl named Jazz. And shout out to Jazz, seen through the struggle. Y'all look her up. But we're just sitting, and I was like, I don't know if I would have anything to gain from her. But I'm like, hey, I'm just going to be a blessing. So we stay connected, and she was like, hey, let's do an Instagram Live sometime. Absolutely. More than happy. So we do an Instagram Live together, just providing value to her audience. Well, her friend sees me. Her friend sends me a DM and says, hey, I saw you on the live. I think you'd be great for my friend's podcast. Awesome. More than happy to speak on your friend's podcast. So I had to fill out this form. It was this tedious thing. And then the podcast wasn't even able to be booked for a few months out. So I'm like, this is just terrible. It's extremely inconvenient for me, but I'm going to do it anyway. So months go by. I completely forgot about the podcast, and it popped up on my calendar. I was like, oh, stop, I got to do this podcast. So I hopped on the podcast, and I was like, hey, I'm just going to come on here. I'm just going to provide as much value. I'm going to get all the game away for free and hope I just bless somebody. And then I told them, like, hey, I'm ebook, whatever. It sells for $27, but anybody watching this podcast, you guys can get it for $7, whatever. So I gave them a special link to get the book for $7. I didn't realize that the podcast was being broadcasted on a bigger network. So I did this 30-minute podcast. I get off, and all of a sudden I check my phone, and I'm like, I just did over $400 in 30 minutes from speaking on this podcast. Not realizing, like, man, that one small connection in that room with somebody I thought, I'll just be a blessing to. Didn't realize that that live was going to be introduced to somebody that's going to introduce me to somebody that was going to put me on a platform that was going to absolutely propel my brand. My friends, you don't know who it is next to you, but make sure you go in these conferences, you go to these masterminds, you get in the room and you talk to the people around you, and you just bring value. So that way you can start a relationship off with a good foundation, make those connections, and you have no clue how far that will propel you. Because at any given moment, you are in proximity to someone that could propel you to the next level. So our friends, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, smash that like button, subscribe. And if you like this video, you're really going to like this one right here. See you there.